Greetings, YouTube. As I've mentioned in the past, I suffer from depression, and when I was a teenager, it really wasn't treated well. I hadn't addressed it properly. I hadn't addressed a number of issues that I needed to. In fact, I didn't get to most of them until in my 30s. My 20s may have been fun, but they weren't all that productive. And I never really figured that I would live to see adulthood, be an adult. But, I did. I graduated in high school when I was 17. I was in love. The relationship didn't last, but it was my first legitimate love. And then, of course, I had to go out there into the world and get a full-time job and try to survive. And it was not too difficult. I was living at home till I was 20, so rent was fairly low. But I realize now, at 46, that I had brought a concept with me from my teen years. Now, I have no idea where I got this from. None whatsoever. In fact, if I look at it critically now, I just kind of shake my head and how could you ever have thought that was a real idea? Because, it was absurd then and it's absurd now. But I did, in fact, maintain this idea in my head. And this idea in my head was that adults, with the capital A and, all appropriate solemnity, didn't engage in the kind of ass-hattery that people did when they were teenagers. That somehow, when you went from the teen years into your adult life, you would start behaving in a logical, reasoned, purposeful manner. That there wouldn't be bickering and mind games and cliques and infighting and personal vendettas against each other. That all those things, all those petty interactions that inhibit us from achieving a fully functional society, those things are in the past. You don't do that as an adult. Adults don't engage in those things. Now, I'm sure that anyone watching this video at this point is laughing themselves into tears. Again, I don't know where I got this idea from. But it was a very disillusioning process when I realized that the people that were around me, the people that were far older than me, in their 20s and 30s and 50s, were just as petty and vindictive and cliquish as all the people that I had lived with in high school. That in fact, the process of becoming an adult only meant that they got better at whatever bad behaviors that they had practiced when they were younger. And that very few people ever took the effort to grow beyond those bad behaviors. Now, I've spent the last 30 years desperately trying to grow beyond those bad behaviors. And I've had some success. I'm very proud of that fact. I wouldn't have the decent relationship I have now if that weren't the case. But it still amazes me, and I still shake my head in knowing that at one point in my life I believed something so incredibly naive and ignorant as to think that adults were anything but just bigger teenagers. So, I asked the viewers of this video, what were the youthful delusions that you had? What did you think was going to be true when you were older and in the adult world that turned out to be woefully naive?